Picture this, two guys trapped in the South Charleston Public Library. One guy loves movies, the other, well, he'd rather be watching reality TV. Can they survive each other's films? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies, hosted by Josh and Aaron from the South Charleston Public Library.
Hey guys, and welcome back to The Real Opposites. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And we're back to discuss our movies that we chose on our live event. I chose Tammy, and Josh chose...
They Live.
Yes. So I guess we'll jump right into They Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the movie and why you chose it.
So why I chose They Live, it's only the second John Carpenter movie I picked for you. The other one was The Thing, which you liked a lot. You also like Halloween.
True.
I think maybe you've seen Christine.
Oh, definitely.
That might be it as far as John Carpenter movies.
Have you seen In the Mouth of Madness?
No. That'll probably be a pick down the road.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Fog with Jamie Lee Curtis and
I don't think
Janet
so.
Leigh? Okay. All right. Anyway, I'm a big John Carpenter fan, and I love They Live. It's one of those. It's a fun one to show people who haven't seen it. There was a friend of mine, his younger cousin. We did a double feature of They Live and Big Trouble in Little China, and we watched Big Trouble in Little China, which you probably haven't seen either, right?
No.
Okay. So Big Trouble in Little China is just like this, like sprawling comedic, action adventure film. It's very unorthodox for the '80s because it's like Kurt Russell's Jack Burton, and he's like, doesn't know what he's doing. He's totally like an American hero. He's totally confident, but unable to really do anything meaningful until the very end. But anyway, we watched that.
The other movie?
That's the other movie.
Okay.
But we watched that. It was like just uproarious. We laughed the whole time. It was really great because I've seen that movie a lot, but it was really great to see it with somebody fresh. And then we went into They Live. In the first half of They Live, like it really hit me how much of a, how flat it is, like a documentary almost. Like, not like a documentary, but like it's very grounded, right? And then there's like about halfway, like especially when he puts on the glasses and then the big fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, we laughed so hard, especially at the fight, because it just kept going and going. It's an amazing fight. So it's great to see a movie you've seen a lot through someone's eyes, fresh.
Right. And
it really made me appreciate They Live so much better, just how it's constructed and it really exemplifies Carpenter's just kind of how influenced he is by, people like Howard Hawks especially. He's a big Western fan, so like Rio Bravo was one of his favorite films, and just how no nonsense the camera work is, the performances. It's just very telling you straight what's going on. And it's just so funny, and it's so this came out like in the 80s, like 88. So kind of maybe not the height of the Reagan era, but it was very a reaction to what happened in the 80s politically. And it's still maybe even more relevant now, what it's talking about, especially in the first half before it turns everything on its head. And I don't know, the movie just always makes me laugh. It always makes me giggle. It's just always makes me think. And I just love the way it's made. I love the score. Roddy Piper's amazing. He's just, no one could deliver those lines. Him and Keith David have such terrific chemistry. And then the endings, I just love the ending. If you didn't know, like it's based on this, like it's very short, like maybe just a couple pages, like a comic strip.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically about a guy who kind of wakes up to the world being not what he thought it was, and then he pretty much just goes on a killing spree. Right. So it's a little bit different than that, to a certain degree. But yeah, I love the movie. It's like in my top 50. It just never fails to make me happy. Okay. So what did you think of it?
I liked the concept of the movie. I thought that was really good. I like the idea behind it, and with the glasses, and you can see, I guess they were like aliens. Yeah. I thought it was kind of dry, though.
Dry?
And it felt forever long.
It's 90 minutes.
Oh, is that all it is?
Yeah, it's only like 90, maybe 95 minutes. Like
it kind of felt long to me.
Oh my God.
Like the first half, I just felt like he was just walking around aimlessly.
No, he's not. Did you not hear what they're talking about?
Yes, but it just felt like he was walking around aimlessly. I don't know. And then, you're going to hate this one too. And then that fight scene.
You mean the best fight scene in film history?
I hated it.
What?
It was forever long, and they were fighting over nothing.
That's why it's funny.
I mean, it was funny for like 2 seconds.
No, it's not. It's hilarious how it keeps going, and then like they all the things they do to each other. Like he's like,
see, to me, and this is what I thought. I assumed it went on forever just to give Roddy Piper like a fight scene.
No, I mean there's plenty of
because
other
he's a wrestler,
like fight and action in the movie.
Yeah,
I guess that's true.
It goes into like a level of absurdity that like no human being would fight over this for this long, and they wouldn't really be standing anyway. Like the amount of damage they do to each other.
Well, I think for some reason, instead of making me laugh, it just kind of annoyed me.
Oh man,
I don't know why. I thought it was funny, like at first,
maybe
and then
you've seen it done though.
What is
like, I feel like so. I think sometimes when you're watching these things, you gotta think about the context of the time of the like. So like, I feel like extended overlong fight scenes are things that have been used to comic effect since they live, but not necessarily things that are like.
Yeah.
But not before. So like it hits different. I think I personally like I really like.
Well, I wasn't watching movies in the 80s, so I don't know that.
Well, yeah. But I think sometimes when you've seen a bit, it doesn't hit as hard as it does the first few times you see the bit. Right?
Yeah, like if you watch Die Hard now, if you've never seen you haven't seen Die Hard.
No.
So if you watch Die Hard now, you'd be like, oh, well, this is just like Speed or Passenger 57 or like there was a lot of copycats after this, and like pretty much he did Big Trouble in Little China and then Prince of Darkness in between, and then They Live. Big Trouble in Little China was like the first real kind of big budget martial arts movie that introduced like Chinese mysticism and like these kind of things that are pretty standard in martial arts films, and especially like in anime. Like there's a part where they do like this with their little fingers and they're like battling, and like that's very like anime inspired, and like so it was the first. So the movie didn't really hit that hard. Like it wasn't a big hit when it came out. Like they wanted it to be like Indiana Jones, and same thing with They Live. Like when They Live opened, it opened really well. It was a pretty big hit, and then somebody for some reason, like a couple weeks later, it was like gone from theaters. It was like, oh, this is a little too. It's talking about stuff that's a little too. Subversive, and like this might get people to think.
Yeah,
this is the 80s. It's not exactly the most thoughtful period of film. There's a lot of just commercialism about a lot of unnecessary sequels, which still goes on, and just kind of shallow films. There's really great films in the 80s. I'm just saying, like by this point, it was pretty dull time for movies in a lot of ways, and They Live is like really like a reaction to that.
Yeah, well, and that's what I said. Like a lot of the themes in the movie, I liked that. And when he puts on the glasses, he had like you can see the signs say "obey" and
consume.
Yeah, consume,
marry and reproduce. I love my favorite one is the guy that's holding like a dollar bill and it says, "This is your God."
Yeah,
yeah,
that's my favorite one.
And like so that stuff, and really once I think it picked up for me. I don't know. I mean, it really got funny once he put the glasses on. Yeah. For sure. And after the fight scene, it really picked up for me. Yeah. I mean, that fight scene was 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And for me, that was just, it was just
amazing.
It was just a tad too bit. And I think I can see how it would be the comic relief, but for me, it was just annoying. I'm not sure why. At first, it was funny, but then.
What comic relief? Fight?
Yeah. Yeah.
You understood what they were going for. It just like it wore out its welcome on you.
It didn't hit for me. But once he like joins him and does put the glasses on and all that, the second half of the movie is pretty good.
Okay.
I like how it progresses from there because it does kind of just progress from there. There's not really anything that holds it up. The first half of the movie just seems so slow to me. And then basically you have the fight scene, which seemed to make it even slower for me. And then it really picked up. But you were right in the fact, like, Roddy being great in this. And some of his lines, which the bubblegum line, he ad-libbed.
Yeah, it was
which
all
is hilarious.
Yeah.
Now, that is one moment that had me rolling. Because where it was so slow and kind of mundane in a way.
Yeah, but I think that's
that
on.
when it hit that line, that made me roll so hard. Like, it was
and that's
hilarious.
like when the movie really like pops.
Right.
But I like that. I mean, that's on purpose to contrast with the absurdity
exactly.
of the second half of the movie.
Right.
You know?
And I wasn't expecting it.
But I like one of my favorites is like when he's in the grocery store and he's like, "You're all right. This one fell into the cheese dip back in 1957 or something like that."
Yeah.
There's so many great lines, and I'm just thinking about the fight. I'm laughing. Sorry. It's like Keith David just like, get away from me. It was like, it's just very, I don't know.
I mean, they were literally fighting over putting some glasses
I know,
on.
and it's so funny.
Yeah. It was funny for like a minute. I could have done for a minute. That would have been good.
Did you ever see the South Park episode where Jimmy
Probably
and Timmy
not.
fight?
Mm-mm.
It's like move for move
Oh,
based
really?
on the They Live fight. It's amazing.
I mean, overall, I didn't hate the movie. It's not that I hated the movie. It's just I felt it was a little more slow than I thought it was going to be, I guess. It was slower than I thought it was going to be. But there were great moments. Like you said, that one in the... I love that when he's talking about, you know, the woman that fell in the cheese dip or whatever it was. And because he puts on the glasses and he can see the aliens. That's what the glasses do.
Yeah. You
So
can see
it's
the real world.
right.
The subliminal messaging. You know?
Yeah, and it definitely covers also how, well, in my opinion, how stupid people can be and just following whatever.
Yeah, well, how
because they had the opportunity to join them and they got rich because of it.
Yeah.
Like they paid
Well,
them
that's
all
what I
kinds
mean, like,
if they would
people-
join them.
People sell out for
Right.
you know, piece of land and some money. They'll sell their grandmothers. But I like that, you know, they're saying like the reason people are so dumb is because they're putting this like radio waves out that kind of subjugate them to just think mindlessly and consume, and you know, I think that's just gotten worse, so much worse. Social media has ruined our
Right. And that's why I liked like I said, the themes of the movie, because they still hold up very much so. So I thought it was cool that it not only was an alien movie, but it definitely had a message as well.
Yeah.
And it was just intertwined so well. I think that part was done really, really well.
So, Aaron, do you think there's a chance the beginning is slow to kind of highlight the difference between like being asleep and being awake in the movie?
Yeah.
I mean, probably, but it didn't make it any more fun. It still was boring.
Well, it's not supposed to be. I mean, the first half is not necessarily supposed to be fun.
Right.
Like you're just seeing like he's in a homeless camp.
You're seeing like it's
Right.
everyday.
Like yeah, you're just seeing
mundane
every day like
existence.
people that are just been stepped on and
Right.
run over, and he's just living that. I mean, it's like.
In my version of the movie, that would last like 5 minutes.
Well, in your
And
version of
then
the movie,
I'm
the whole
like,
movie would be
yeah.
like 23 minutes.
Well, then it would only be like 1 minute of that.
Your ideal movie is an hour long, right?
Yes, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So if I-
Hour 20. That's pretty good. I saw Mario and it was like an hour and 20 minutes, and that was a good.
You saw Mario. You saw John Wick 4. What else did you saw? You saw Dungeons and Dragons.
And Scream 6.
You've seen more movies lately than I have.
in the movies.
Yeah,
I
in the
got
theater.
Well, I actually really do enjoy
you got
going
the
to the
movie pass.
movies, especially for horror movies. So I enjoy going to the movies, and plus I got that movie pass. So $10 a month to see at least 3 movies. It's pretty worth it to have something to do.
Did you so you like watching movies in the theater? Is it because you can't be distracted from the movie? Do you think you enjoy theater movies better because like you can't look at your phone?
I think
Or
that
like-
Or are
probably
you one of those people that
helps.
still look at your phone?
No, not
Good.
unless it's something really important.
Good.
Yeah.
But because I have my watch and I can
Yeah.
see or respond to somebody if I need to. But no, and that might be part of it but I think for me, going to the movies, especially with horror movies and sometimes comedies, is you get that reaction from everybody and you feed from that. So that's really fun too.
Yeah. Horror movies are great with a big audience.
Exactly.
Opening night, especially.
Yeah. So that's always fun. Like when I went to the fan premiere of Scream 6.
Yeah.
Like those people were fans of Scream, so they were reacting to a lot of the same things I would react to because it wasn't just a normal audience seeing a movie. It was.
Are you sure they were fans? Did you question them when they were entering the theater?
I mean, I guess
trivia?
not, but most of them had Scream shirts on. So
this is a fan event only. Are you sure? Are you a real fan?
I couldn't imagine anybody else.
What color
would be
shirt
there.
did Gail wear in Scream 3?
Yellow, I think. Pretty sure.
We all know what her
Yellow
bangs
suit.
look like. So.
That's true. We do know what her bangs look like.
Do you know what real power is? Bangs.
Perfect. We need that like a little mashup clip. But yeah, overall, I mean, I like I said, I wouldn't say I didn't like this movie. I like the themes. The second half is really pretty interesting. It's fun.
What's your favorite part? Favorite scene? Favorite line?
Well, I
It's
think.
not the bubblegum line.
Did you say not that one?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Let me think about it then.
It's like,
Because that's what I was going to say.
that's like the big line in the movie.
It is, but it's also the one that hit me and like really turned the movie for me.
Okay.
So like once that one hit is when it started to pick up for me, which I know is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just wasn't expecting that one, and it really caught me off guard and made me laugh, I think is what I was saying.
Okay, well, then give your second favorite line or scene from the movie.
So favorite scene, I think it's when he first puts the glasses on and he's like figuring out what's going on. When you're seeing all the billboards and he's doing the back and forth, taking them off, putting them on, where it really drives the concept of what's going on. I just like that. Plus, I just loved the reveal of all the
signs and
Yeah,
magazines and
all the stuff telling you what to do with your lives
Yeah.
and
Well, I
how
mean,
real that
and, like,
is.
it is, and it's like they design these like commercials and ads, like they're like they've got it down to a science. Like
For sure.
It's like they do like fast food.
Mm-hmm.
This right amount of salt and this right amount of sweet, and then it triggers your brain to just want more and more and more. Same thing with like advertising.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, in high school, I was in Raise, which is like against tobacco companies. And I attended a thing just on tobacco ads and how they use product placement and their ads in general to target certain groups and stuff like that. And that was really eye-opening back then. So now I see that stuff. Like when it comes on TV, you can, if you know what you're looking for, you can see exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, like having not really watched cable, like I don't watch commercials because I watch everything either on disc or streaming.
Right.
So like when I do have to watch something with commercials, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad.
Am I in They Live?
Right, exactly.
But I think my favorite scene is actually after the fight when they go to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when they show up at the hotel and they're all bruised up.
That was good.
And they're just like, in your room. And they both just are standing there.
And they did really good with the makeup for that.
Yeah.
Because they look like they had really just been in a bad fight.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And the great thing about the fight is like, that's them doing all that. Like Keith David's not a stuntman, but I mean, I think he might have played football in college, maybe, but he's there with Roddy Piper, like doing all these moves. These like, he's getting thrown on his back and taking all these hits. But and then the scene him and Keith David have in the hotel room, like they're talking about their parent, like their father and their past. I think both of them, Roddy Piper for not being like an actor, I think he does a really great job.
Yeah,
scene.
I think this is the only thing, or at least the main thing I've seen him in. I think he did some other stuff.
He did some other probably like direct-to-video stuff. But
I can't remember if I've seen any of that. But I was surprised.
He's really good.
That he was
and
good
he has
in
like,
this.
and I mean, the reason I think he's so good is because his like Nada, the character, he's just a working man, and Roddy Piper just gives off that vibe. Like he's just, that's how he grew up, which
Like
I think it was.
dude.
I mean, he kind of grew up poor, and and that there's just you can't fake that. And it's just like you just buy it. I just buy it like
He just fit that character so well.
It's like we couldn't see anybody else in that role. And same with Keith David. Keith David was just so funny.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice too.
Well, I just, speaking of the fight scene, so I guess it was only supposed to last 20 seconds originally, which would have been great for me. But Piper and David decided to fight it out for real, only faking the hits to the face and groin. They rehearsed the fight for 3 weeks, and Carpenter was so impressed that he kept that whole scene.
Yeah.
So it was really Piper and David that came up with that scene, which does kind of make it a little bit better knowing that.
Yeah.
That they were like, no, this needs to be more ridiculous. So that's kind of funny, even though I didn't find the scene that funny. But I mean, there were parts of, don't get me wrong, there were parts of the fight that were hilarious.
Yeah.
It just lasted too long for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you guys know about like the Obey clothing
That's what
brand?
I was just getting ready to talk about.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Back when I worked at the gym, there was a kid that had an Obey shirt on or a hat on. And I was like, oh, cool. You like They Live? He's like, what's that? I'm like, oh.
That's the point of the brand. So the brand actually pulled major inspiration from They Live.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's like the same font and everything.
And wanted to bring in, so they were originally like a skateboarding brand rooted in like punk counterculture. And so they wanted, like, it's kind of a social experiment to kind of see if the brand made it big, kind of like, do you get it?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like, you put the word obey on your body and understand, like, what it means to just, it's like you're just wearing it out, feeding into, like, this culture of consumerism or, you know, not. And so that's, like, part of the guy who made the brand has talked about how he drew inspiration from, like, it was just so striking, like, all the, like, blank font consumerism kind of stuff out there that he was like, yeah, like this could be an interesting social experiment. So
exactly.
When you see someone wearing that, maybe don't call them out on it, but, you know, think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm going to call them out on them and be like, you know what this is from, right?
Yeah, like, do you know?
And that's how I think, like, the movie it's pretty timeless, sadly. Because that stuff is even worse now.
I just read this, and I just thought this was interesting. Roddy Piper credited John Carpenter and They Live with jump-starting the wrestler-turned-actor migration. I was the first wrestler ever in history of wrestling to star in a major motion studio picture that became #1 box office of the weekend, which is kind of interesting because it's very normal now. We get a lot of movies that wrestlers are now transitioning into actors. I mean it's Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, and Batista. They're
both of them are huge actors, and that's where they come from.
Batista's actually a really good actor, I think.
Yeah.
Much better than The Rock. I mean, as far as like actor, like
right.
he's taken more chances too, like done more dramatic.
I would say Dwayne Johnson is the most
he's
part,
a good movie star.
Yeah, he is. But I do enjoy when he has comedy roles. I think he pulls off comedy pretty well.
I love The Rundown.
That's a good one.
That was like
with
I think that was his first like that wasn't like the Mummy movie,
right?
But like his first like big.
Yeah, I think it was
his own vehicle
about the diamonds. And
it's Christopher Walken and Sean William Scott and Rosario Dawson.
That's what I was trying to think of.
That movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch that. I haven't seen it forever.
I remember going to the theater to see it with a buddy, and we were just like, whatever, we'll go see it. And we just laughed our butts off the whole time. It was so funny.
I also thought he was decent in Walking Tall, which I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of acting for that, but I mean, I thought it did good to the whole Walking Tall story.
The only actor I could think that prior to Roddy Piper and They Live is maybe Jesse Ventura in Predator, but he's not the main star. He's just part of the ensemble. Right. But yeah, Roddy Piper's probably like, because he's the star, he's the main character,
right?
And then probably it's like a few years later, and then like Hulk Hogan's doing.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
What did he do? Suburban Commando and.
Yeah, I can't even remember the names of them.
Other one. There was a couple of them.
Yeah,
I remember watching them when I was a kid.
But I mean,
your vitamins, brother.
But that is neat that it is kind of one of the first ones.
And apparently he quit the WWF to make the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I imagine he came back because I remember him coming back.
He definitely he came back
and
multiple times.
His career was better than ever before because of John Carpenter, because of making the movie.
Yeah.
Weirdly, also, like another segue to the Obey brand, they started out making stickers, and the original sticker had Andre the Giant's face on it.
Oh, that's awesome!
As part of like it was like his face in like black and white shadow over the word Obey.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was like,
oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, he actually split because Vince McMahon didn't want him to do it. Mm-hmm. But he definitely went back because he was even back not long before his death. He came back when Ronda Rousey.
Oh.
When she switched to WWE, he kind of was like her mentor, and she went by Ronda Rousey.
Not long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right before his death, and she kind of came out to the same colors, and she went by Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
Ronda, what was it? Say that 3
Rowdy
times fast.
Ronda Rousey.
Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, instead of Roddy Piper.
Funny little bit of trivia: the homeless camp is still underdeveloped. It's still undeveloped. Like it's
the same.
If I go to California, maybe I'll visit the homeless camp. I'll be like, I'm in the homeless camp where they live.
Such a weird thing to sort of.
I'll get my flannel and jeans and my glasses.
There you go. Walk around.
I'll get a mullet wig.
See if anybody notices what you're doing.
Many of the homeless actually in the scene were actually homeless people,
Yes.
and John Carpenter fed them and paid them for being in the film.
Yeah.
John Carpenter,
he's awesome.
He's awesome.
Nice
I
guy.
just love the guy to death. If you listen to the interviews, he's like, this is why I think this is like the movie that he really, his like kind of nihilism and like very bleak view of humanity. This and The Thing like come through the most, like in his political views. And he's just very like, he's funny because he's very anti-capitalist, but then he's like, I love it when they make a Halloween sequel because I get a check and then I get to watch some more basketball on a bigger TV or something. You know, it's like he's so funny. I love him to death.
Yeah, and I mean, so far I've liked everything I've watched of his. Like I said, this movie was just a little slow for me, but overall, I enjoyed the theme of it and how it was shot and things like that. I mean, there wasn't anything specific about the movie that made me not like it.
I gotta feel like if you went back and watched it again, you'd like the first half would go by faster.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure it would. You also have to throw in there that when I sit down to watch these movies, most of the time I don't want to. So there's always that like little bit of that going on that it feels like I'm being forced to watch a movie because I am technically.
You are, yeah. Not at gunpoint.
So not at gunpoint, but almost.
You like doing the podcast, therefore you have to watch a movie. It's
Exactly.
an exchange.
Right.
It's an exchange.
But it's rough sometimes. So it's just
it is.
because I really have to be in the right mood to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
Especially at home. I think that plays into sometimes when I like this one, that could be part of it. It was slow to me because I didn't want to watch a movie.
You just want to get
So
it
it
over
seemed
with.
slow.
Yeah.
But overall, I think I liked the movie. It wasn't as entertaining as I expected maybe.
Okay.
And maybe that's because I liked all his other ones pretty well.
Apparently he's made like 20, so. And they're 20 good ones, according to Roddy Piper. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Roddy Piper's like, I made 20 movies. And I'm like, yeah, but you made 20 good ones.
Yeah.
Talking to Carpenter. I mean, you know, Ghosts of Mars notwithstanding.
It's enjoyable in a different way.
It's enjoyable as a fun B movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's enjoyable as a Joe Bob movie.
I think it was made to be like that, though.
I mean, I think it's basically Carpenter be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remake my own movie.
I'm going to have fun.
Assault on Precinct 13, which in itself is kind of a remake of Rio Bravo. But I'm going to cast Ice Cube, and we're going to have space zombies. Or space vampires.
What do we think about the fact that the They Live aliens kind of look like zombies?
I love it.
I mean, I thought that was the concept. Honestly, I always thought They Live was a zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
But by like posters that I've seen or pop figures,
of the aliens,
they do have pop figures. And now I kind of want it. I saw one at the antique mall.
There's
and
one
I may have to get it.
There's a poster I need to get, and it's just like a big close up of like the eye of one of the aliens.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, going into this, even going into watching it,
there's so much of this.
I thought it was a zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's so much of this movie that's like subconsciously out there in pop culture, like the bubblegum line, obey, that image.
Well, the bubblegum line he also used in wrestling during a match or during a interview or something. But he did use it. He went on and said it. He went on to use it in wrestling, which I knew I'd heard that before for some reason. Even when I was watching the movie and he said it, I was like, that sounds so familiar for some reason. So that's probably why.
One of the things I noticed the first time I watched it was it's like when they're breaking into the news station at the end, the guards have like the little like walkie-talkies they're talking in.
Yeah.
But they're the PKE meters from Ghostbusters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, there's the PKE meters.
Oh, that's cool.
I feel like one of the things that's nice about this movie, and it's like it wouldn't work if someone less brilliant than Carpenter did it, is that like the subtext is not subtext. Like, it is so heavy-handed. I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like they're zombies because consumerism turns you, like,
exactly.
capitalism, consumerism turns people into zombies.
But at the same time, they're actually just aliens.
But, like, it's like they're, that's the thing, is they're out among all the normal people, and it's just they are the ones in control. And it's like, this is an interesting, it's interesting in the ways we see like privilege, and that's definitely talking about like trickle down economics in a very black and white kind of way, where it's like, obviously this does not work.
I appreciate so much about Carpenter, how he made the movie. Like, he lays it all out there, but it doesn't feel like when Keith David and Roddy are talking, and like after they're having their dinner, about like the kind of their worldviews, and like Piper's like, I just believe, honest day's work and all that, and Keith David's like, the number one rule is, get through life, but everyone else is gonna step on you on the way, and and I mean, it's all like, it's not subtle, but it's potent, and it's just, he's just being straightforward. That's what I appreciate so much about Carpenter. I love like stuff like Mulholland Drive, where it's like, you got to figure it out, and it's like symbolism and vague, but at the same time, I think inherently I just like, just tell me what you want, like tell me what's going on.
See, I like that.
And be, but do it in a way that's not like preachy.
Right,
just
exactly.
Like, just
it's there, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, The Thing is probably his most subtle film. And it's mostly just because it's very vague about, but that plays into the concept, it's the paranoia and who's who, and it totally works for that film. Other than that, I just love this film.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about the themes. I like how they're presented, because it's there, but you still have to somewhat piece it together, but not really.
Yeah.
Like, it's there, but you have to make that connection that, they look like a zombie because of this advertising type stuff and this, and like it's all there laid out for you, and it's in a nice little pretty bow. That's the way I like it.
I love how the movie's structured. Like, the first 30 minutes or so, like, you're just with Roddy as he's like trying to figure out what's going on. What's up with these people in these glasses in this church, and you're very much like in his shoes, like he's the audience proxy, and I think they did. I think Carpenter did that really well, and he's just like, I don't know, like, I like that guy. It can identify with him. He's an everyman. He's a good everyman.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think I would enjoy the movie more if I went back and watched it a second time.
And I know what's coming.
Yeah. I don't know that I will, but if I did, I definitely think. Well, I mean, I liked it enough, I guess, that I want that pop figure I saw. Because I saw it before.
I might have to get that too. I don't even like pops, but I'll get it.
They had one at the antique mall right here for like $8.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Now it's going to be a race. Who gets it first? But yeah, I think overall it was a decent movie. Yeah. Okay.
So that wraps up They Live.
Yeah, so I guess that wraps up They Live. We will take a little break for some messages from the library, and then we'll be back to discuss my movie.
All right, guys, this is Toby and Kendall here with some announcements from the library. On April 17th, we have a book signing from Angela Richards, who is one of the co-authors of 100 Things to Do in West Virginia Before You Die. So if you'd like to come by and check that out, it will start at 5 p.m. on Monday, April 17th. And then on Monday, April 24th, we have a paint and plant class where we will be painting terracotta flower pot, and you'll have a nice little green friend to take home with you. Registration is recommended. We may be full at the time this episode airs, and that will be starting at 5:30. I'm gonna pass it over to Kendall with announcements from Youth Services.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall. We are well into April, but still have lots of great programs going on. As always, we have our Tuesday and Thursday story times. Tuesday, we've been doing alphabets, and we yesterday wrapped up our last 26th letter, the letter Z. And so on the 18th at 10:30, that story time will be an alphabet celebration. We'll have some special treats and games to celebrate getting through the alphabet. The following week, we will start just having our regular story times again on Tuesdays. And again, that's at 10:30. And then Thursday, we have Words and Wiggles, which is our musical story time with lots of movement and musical instruments. So that'll be both the 20th and the 27th at 10:30. On the 28th of April, Friday, we have a screening of Rocky from 3 to 5 p.m. This is part of our Real Readers Teen Film Club. And so this is our second to last movie before the end of the school year, but we're excited to watch Rocky, especially since the newest Creed movie has just hit theaters recently. And on Tuesday, the 25th in the evening, we are very excited to have a program all about rocks. And Toby will actually be joining us for this program as she is an expert in rocks. She says iffy. I say expert. She majored in it in college. But this program is called Rocks Are Not Boring. And we are going to learn all about rocks, do experiments with rocks, break open some geodes, read a charming picture book called Old Rock Is Not Boring. And so that is Tuesday the 25th from 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. And this program is part of a national STEM organization called Remake Learning Days, and we're able to host this in partnership with the June Harless Center at Marshall University. So we hope you'll join us for either a story time or Rocks Are Not Boring, or if you're a teen, for Rocky on the 28th, and enjoy the rest of your April. Thanks.
All right, guys, we're headed back to the show now. Thank you.
All right. So I guess we're back to discuss the movie I chose, which is 2014's classic masterpiece. I didn't even get to say the name yet.
Okay. All right, continue.
Classic masterpiece that is a Tammy with Melissa McCarthy. So I really enjoy Melissa McCarthy. I think her kind of comedy is one of those, you either like it or you don't. There's not really an in-between. Mm-hmm. And I really, really enjoy her kind of comedy. This is one of my favorite movies of hers, actually. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's hilarious. I laugh so hard. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've seen it. I've seen it multiple times, but I still thoroughly enjoyed going back and watching it for the podcast. So I was so excited. I was so excited when I picked Tammy.
I laughed. I do like Melissa McCarthy. I just don't think we could say classic masterpiece.
So
clearly I'm doing that out.
What is it about this film that speaks to you? I really want to figure this out.
So I do like, it sets her up. This movie sets up in the fact that she kind of is at her rock bottom. She loses her job. She loses her relationship. And then she has to move back home. She's stuck. She has to get out. Like she needs something in her life. Definitely been in that same spot. Mm-hmm. So I think I kind of relate to her in a way, which I know sounds ridiculous, but all those things I just mentioned, I've literally went through. So it's just a neat setup for me. I like that. And then she just goes with her grandma, and it's like this crazy time, and I don't know. It's just hilarious. I don't know that it's a deep reason other than I feel her pain.
Okay.
And just how life sometimes it can be, everything goes wrong. But anyways, I think.
What is it about her comedy? Like what is it about her that's funny to you?
I don't, it's just outlandish, and it's very in your face. Like you definitely know what's going on.
I think she pulls from the Chris Farley school. I think she's an excellent physical comedian. I think she uses her body a lot, and in a way that's like really like unique and funny. That's one of the things. I love Spy. That's my favorite movie of hers, probably.
I like
and
Spy.
I really
need to rewatch that one.
I really like the way that she she's obviously a very capable and athletic person, despite being bigger, and like she's able to like kind of throw herself around in a way that's
right.
Like, it's like fun. It's like slapsticky kind of funny,
right, exactly.
And I like that.
I like slapstick kind of stuff, and she definitely does that. Even in this movie, I saw in the little trivia that we have here that there's 3 times in the movie that she is abruptly woken up, which causes her to rise as if she'd been shocked. Mm-hmm. And it's like things like that she does that I do enjoy. So I guess that is part of it. It's also like a physical kind of comedy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think she's hilarious.
Okay.
Big movements, big jokes, very obvious.
Okay.
I like Melissa McCarthy. I can't fault you there. I think she's funny.
I like her in small doses.
Yeah.
When she's in a comedy. Like Bridesmaids is the perfect amount of Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Spy is pretty good. I like Spy is okay.
Well, I think anytime a comedian runs full blast the whole movie, like it's the whole issue I have with like most Adam Sandler movies is it's like if you don't get a little break from the bit.
I like Adam Sandler as well.
I like Adam Sandler.
And I like him the whole time kind of movies.
Yeah,
I like
those
that.
are not my favorites.
The best part of his movies, especially like post Wedding Singer, is like the cameos. Is like C. Buscemi or Rob Schneider or something. Like those guys that pop in for a few scenes.
Or when he writes the movie and he plays like the straight man, and everyone else is doing the comedy. It's great.
Yeah,
like, he's a great writer. Like he writes good comedy.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason I like this movie specifically is I do like some of the other cast that's in it. Kathy Bates, I love Kathy Bates, so I like her in this movie.
Yeah, I love
Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon and Kathy Bates. Like, there's good people in the movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I like their characters and stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's
okay.
I like this movie. What did Josh think?
Coyote Ugly has been dethroned.
What? Whoa!
Wow, that's harsh.
This movie is painfully unfunny.
Oh man! Hold on. I need a moment to take this in. Okay, continue.
You're definitely a Melissa McCarthy fan. Very dramatic. It's so excruciatingly just not enjoyable or entertaining.
Oh my gosh.
It is. They basically take like the setup of Stripes, the opening of Stripes, and then it's like a dumb Thelma and Louise. Which is funny. There's a little trivia. Where it's like
there's
$6,500 is what Susan Sarandon had. $6,700 is what she had in Thelma and Louise too.
Right.
It's a nice little thing. It's the best part of the movie.
There was another thing related to Thelma and Louise. I don't remember what it was though, but
maybe it's at the car or something. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know.
It's like one long SNL skit just run amok. Like, and it's one of these. It's everything that I hate about comedies now. From the last 20 years probably is in this movie. It's just like they came up with the basic dumb outline or concept, and then they pretty much just improvise everything else because you can tell because scenes just go on.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, if we just say this line 16 more times, it'll get funnier. It doesn't. It's dumb.
Now, see, that's when. So it's things like that I do find funny that last long. Whereas, like, you enjoyed the fight scene that lasted long.
Well, because the fight scene's like impressive and funny, and like it gets absurd to it. Like it builds.
Yeah, but like
I like to say humor is super subjective.
It is. And I'm not faulting you for liking this movie.
Oh no, I know.
I just think it's really
I knew
dumb.
you wouldn't like this movie.
Well, both ways. Like that's what I was saying. Like you really hated the fight scene. That kind of humor just doesn't catch you. But
that's what I was saying.
Did,
that's what I was saying. There's the difference. But I 100% knew you would not enjoy this movie probably.
I know you should.
But
you'd mentioned this one before. Yes. I was like, no.
Yeah. But I didn't know it would dethrone Coyote Ugly.
Yeah,
I was a little bit surprised by that, which I think I'm okay with because
at least Coyote Ugly, I feel like, okay, somebody wrote a script for this.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, Tammy has heart.
No, it doesn't.
What? Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It's all about her reconnecting with her grandma, and then like it's so sad when she thinks she's dead at the end.
No, it
there
doesn't, because she's not dead.
No, you don't know that.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. I mean, you kind of know it, but it seems like she could be dead.
It's not. But it's not. I just don't like. By that point, I just want them both to get run over or something. I don't really.
Okay, but
can y'all just jump in the canyon now?
But what about what about the great scene of her on the jet ski?
On the jet ski, yeah, that's the very example of like what is wrong. Like it's like, oh, it's a fat person on a jet ski. This is funny. Ha ha ha.
It was like, so good though.
It's so dumb. It's like it's so obvious.
But you know what is funny about that jet ski scene is they reportedly lost a $9,000 wig that Melissa McCarthy was wearing during it. I guess they lost it in the water, which is kind of funny.
Probably.
Yeah.
Also, seeing her hair, I think it's ridiculous that they paid $9,000 for that wig. I feel like they could have got that at Dollar General during Halloween. But I don't know. I just like it. They go on this little road trip. Susan Sarandon plays the grandma. She is an alcoholic, which I love that about her. And
That's just like another trope. Like, of course she's an alcoholic. It's like the alcoholic grandmother.
I know, but it's so good. So good in this one. But I mean, I do also just like Susan Sarandon.
I like Susan Sarandon too.
So she put peppercorns in her shoes to make her walking look more painful.
Yeah, I saw that
in the movie. And there was something else she did, but like she's Susan
Sarandon. Like
she put into it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry she wasted her time and energy on this one though. When she could have been.
I don't know. I think
worthy
it's
of her
good.
talents, but it's. Just nothing. Like I didn't laugh once in the entire.
What? There's no way.
I did not laugh once. It is not.
There is no way there was not at least one joke
funny.
that made you.
There is not.
Okay.
There's nothing is coming to me.
Is there anything that at least made you smile?
No.
What?
I was just like,
oh,
dead. This movie killed me.
What? That makes no sense.
Soul.
There has to be something.
It's not. There was nothing in this movie that made me laugh. I'm not joking.
Not even like when Kathy Bates blows up the car or sets fire to the Viking funeral for the jet ski.
So, I mean, comedy is like horror.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can't just try to hit every. It's trouble with like the post 40-year-old virgin like Judd Apatow movies, where they will just let the camera roll and the actors improvise because you hire improvisational comedians to act in the movie for the most part.
Right.
So you just let them improvise and you pick the funniest stuff. The first couple of Judd Apatow movies are kind of like they work like that. 40-year-old virgin and Knocked Up. For whatever reason, those just he picked the right people to do the right things, and he doesn't go too ridiculous. Especially 40-year-old virgin. It's a very sweet film. And Carell and like the cast is really great. Mm-hmm. But this, like that style, like every comedy tried to do that. So they try to make every scene some improvisational comedy gold when it's like you can't do that. You have to give the audience time. I mean, your jokes have to be funny first, but then they have to come up and come down. Like it has to be a roller coaster. It's like you can't have the whole horror movie be just like suspenseful the whole time. Like you can't do that.
Right.
Or if you do, you have to be very good and you have to make it very lean and short. Like,
right.
Like something like Don't Breathe's really good at that. Yeah. Whereas like once they get into the house, it's like there's no rest.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't stop. Comedy has to work like that. That's why comedies and horrors are a lot of fun to see in theaters because the audience participation is usually really great. You get a lot of laughs, or you get a lot of screaming, or both, or and this has none of the comedic timing of like a decent comedy. Like just nothing. It's just flat and dumb and insulting.
But see, it's super funny, and then they have the low parts where it's sad, and then it gets funny again.
It's not sad because I don't care because I haven't been given a reason to care about anybody.
What?
I don't.
You don't care about Tammy?
I literally wanted them to just die so the movie would stop because they're both annoying. Because it's like when she comes home. And her husband is with the other woman or whatever, and it's like it's played so like if you're gonna have that be a dramatic moment, have that be a dramatic moment. That way I can empathize with Tammy.
Yeah.
But they don't. They try to play it off as a joke. So then I don't care because they're playing it off as a joke. So in order to be invested, it has to be dramatic.
Yeah. What about though? I mean, the great scene when she robs the.
I'm about ready to quit this podcast.
You didn't even find that funny?
No, it's not funny.
She puts a bag on her head and has a bag gun.
How many of those kind of like scenes where someone's trying to rob a gas station or something, or like?
Well, that's the only one I can think of.
It's all the same thing. Like it's like, oh, of course she's not going to have a gun, or she's going to drop the gun, or she's got a bag on her head, and it's like, oh, I can tell you who you are for the voice, or I don't know. It's
right.
Just like,
but then she's like, "Do you like pies?
Oh my,
get you some pies."
I'm glad you're enjoying this.
Okay. So, we were speaking of comedies that you find touching. Have either of you guys seen Clerks 3 yet?
Yeah, it was very good.
Here's the thing is I've never seen Clerks.
I cried at Clerks 3.
And I watched Clerks 3 and I cried. I had never seen the original movie, so like I was
You've never seen the original Clerks? Mm-hmm.
No.
Have you seen Clerks 2?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
I need to watch them.
Yeah.
But we were watching Clerks 3 and
yeah.
I cried like a little baby and I laughed a lot. Like it was legitimately funny.
Yeah, it's funny. But like Randall's like his his kind of scenes where the more dramatic scenes he has are very hard. Like, they're dramatic and they're moving.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that's a good, like in court, like when you go back to watch Corks, it's like the kind of timing I'm talking about where it's like you have some jokes, and then it kind of, you have like it's a lot of dialogue, so it'll kind of build up to this funny punchline. You know, it's like a good comedian. Like you have build up, boom, punch.
Well, it's like he has all these really tender. There are all these really like tender, sad. Like there's still like levity in those moments, but they're like, you know, all the moments that he has where he's talking. Sorry, out spoilers, but he's talking to the ghost of his, like, you know, his dead like wife. Yeah. And it's, you know, there's, you know, the obvious raunchy joke here or there, all the stuff, but like there's real, she's like, hey, like stop it for a minute. You need to move on. Or like you need, that is kind of what you're talking about, like done really well. It's like you can have a zany comedy that goes hard in the zany comedy from start to finish, has a ridiculous premise, lets people improv their way through, and even pulls the same bits because they were going to have Silent Bob talk a lot in this one. So they were like, how about we get a second Silent Bob?
Yeah. But yeah, it's like to buy into the comedy, I need to care. It's
but
like,
see,
it's
I
like
cared
a good
about
horror
Tammy.
movie.
and therefore,
I'm glad you cared about Tammy.
Right. And in my eyes, this one does have the roller coaster because there's all these little sad parts. And it may go back to, honestly, it may go back to the fact that I actually relate to Tammy. Because even in the end, like, I think it's so sad when, I don't know her name, but Susan Sarandon's character is drunk and on the stage at Kathy Bates' party and like calls her a fat failure or something like that. That to me is so sad. But once again, I think it's because I relate to the character. So maybe that's why it comes across different to me.
I can relate. I can relate to any character, but I just need to feel that it's genuine, and I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't know, but for some reason, I guess
because the movie hasn't earned those scenes.
I guess. I mean, they did with me.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. It earned it with you.
Like, for me, that comedy is very funny and sad.
Well, I think sometimes when you relate to a character, you give them more of a backstory than is there in a movie.
Right.
Like, you know,
and that's what I'm saying. I think it may pull from me.
Yeah.
That makes this funny and sad to me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe. I don't know.
I am interested in seeing her play Ursula.
I am too.
It'll be this, like, she won't,
I don't know. It could be.
She'll just be Melissa McCarthy. I mean,
but she can play other, though.
I don't know.
She's great in that, like, Can You Ever Forgive Me? I wish she would do more stuff like that.
Can You Forgive Me, Mr. Peacock, or something like that?
I think it's just Can You Forgive Me? Or
I don't know.
She's
like Peacock.
Yeah, the one where she's the
writer,
ghostwriter, or whatever.
Yeah, I liked that a lot.
I wish she'd make more stuff like that because she's a really good dramatic actress.
Yeah.
I was really blown away by that movie.
I think there's only been one movie that I've seen Melissa McCarthy in that I was not a fan of, and that was Ghostbusters.
Well,
that was like what's so weird.
But it wasn't
about
her
that
I
movie
didn't like.
No, the whole movie's like, funny.
I actually didn't like Kristen Wiig.
It's like, how do you put four of like the funnier women's in the world in a movie and that it still be kind of disappointing?
It was very disappointing.
I love Kate McKinnon and Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
And what is it, Melissa McCarthy, and then I'm not crazy about Leslie Jones or Melissa McCarthy as comedians.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Kate McKinnon, and they were not funny. Like the whole movie, like the first scene was kind of like, okay, maybe this is okay, and then it just kind of went downhill really fast. And it's the same kind of comedy though. It's just like they'll have a scene and it's like, okay, just do the scene, improvise.
Right.
And it's just like, no, that's not how.
I will say,
works.
I do like Chris Hemsworth basically every time he plays like a
himbo.
A himbo. He's so funny
at
it. Like, cause he's like,
he's the Janine, like the dumb.
Oh, that's right.
Secretary.
He's clearly like not stupid, and I just think it's funny when he plays a dumb jock. Like it's he pulls it off really well.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't think for me, Melissa McCarthy was fine in that movie, but I do see that one was definitely an ad-lib movie, and I think they kept the wrong stuff for sure.
Yeah.
There were just ad-libbing that didn't hit, and for me, a lot of it came from, I think it was Kristen Wiig. Played one of the Ghostbusters, the blonde one.
No, it's Kate McKinnon. The one that's like the Egon, where she invents all the stuff.
Yeah.
Kate McKinnon's blonde. Kristen Wiig's like more like a brunette.
Oh, okay. I get people mixed up. Yeah. But the Kate McKinnon then, that's where it fell flat for me a lot. And it felt like they gave her all the funny parts per se, and they just didn't work.
No,
But anyways,
because she is so funny.
yeah.
She is like
But like her style of comedy is like really kind of dry.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe
I like
they just
dry
gave
humor.
the wrong lines to the wrong people in that movie, so to speak. Like, you know.
Yeah, there's no identity. Like no one feels like they're separate. Like they all just feel like the same character.
Right.
I didn't hate it the way a lot of people did, but I do think it was a disappointment.
I was actually very surprised that I didn't like
Ghostbusters
it.
was my religion when I was a kid. So.
Well, and speaking of Ghostbusters, that's something I need to do is I need to go back and watch all the Ghostbusters. Not the woman one again. I'm not going to do that. Like that's how bad I didn't like it.
Yeah, no,
I will
I've never
not watch
watched
that one
it
again. But I know I saw parts of them like when I was a kid. I think I saw parts of them when I was a kid, but I don't remember them as a whole movie.
Yeah.
And that's something I would love to go back and watch because I also wanted to see the newer one.
The new one was fantastic. I was very skeptical about it, and I cried when I watched it. I was like, I didn't expect
well, that
this.
makes me not want to watch it. I don't.
No, I mean it's very touching and it's very sweet, and it's like it's a good it's funny, it's exciting.
You probably won't
It's
cry.
heartfelt.
I didn't cry.
When was
but
the last
it was very
time-
good.
But I grew up with Egon. I grew up
exactly.
like with Harold Ramis movies and seeing him in like Stripes and all these movies, and so it was very touching.
But when have I ever?
You're not gonna cry.
When have I ever? When have I ever had you watch like a touching crying movie?
It's the movie itself is there are definitely
This one.
touching moments, but it's
This
not
one.
like that.
This one was a touching one.
This made me cry.
I mean,
What am I doing with my life?
no, I don't think you'll cry with the new Ghostbusters. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that people who cried because they grew up with the old Ghostbusters and have strong feelings about it. And that's all I'll say because I don't want to ruin it for you.
It's really good though.
Yeah,
good.
I'm looking
don't-
forward. They're supposed to be making a new one too.
Got one of the Stranger Things.
But yeah, it's got Finn Wolfhard from
Yeah.
Stranger Things. And
Yeah, I need to go back and watch those. But
anyway,
I will say, as far as Tammy and They Live, I don't know. I kind of enjoyed. They were definitely different movies. You have one that has something to say, and Tammy definitely doesn't. I mean, for the most part, I connect to it and I see what it's saying.
That's cool. I mean,
But it's not like
every movie is someone's favorite movie.
yeah. Tammy is probably one of my favorite. I absolutely love Tammy. It is one that I can put on and know I'm going to laugh.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it is hilarious.
Whatever works for you, man.
Oh, what about when she hits the deer and she's talking to it and jumps up?
Aaron's enjoying himself this podcast.
I think I just want to go home and watch Tammy. So I know you didn't like Tammy, but if you had to pick a favorite scene, what would it be?
The credits don't count.
Yeah, definitely the credits don't count. Like what one maybe almost could have made you laugh?
One moment in the movie where you're like, this isn't as painful.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Like if the whole movie's a root canal, like what is
I'd
the
rather get
moment?
a root canal. I'm getting a root canal tomorrow. I'd rather be there than watch Tammy.
But
At least I know something's going to happen. It's going to benefit me.
That's true. What scene was the least painful?
I mean, I guess like the only thing that's kind of like the hold up scene, like
Because she says,
at
"Do you want
least
pies?"
it's like it might remind me of a better scene somewhere else. I don't know. No, that's about it.
What about when they put the bags back on their heads to return the money?
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah.
We should have recorded this one. Like y'all's faces are hilarious. Josh is just like, I hate my life. And Aaron is like joyful. So happy.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of okay. I'll give you that.
Okay, that was a good scene.
That more than the hold up scene. Like okay,
Yeah. All right. Well,
30 seconds of Tammy was somewhat tolerable.
and it was mainly because Susan Sarandon was in it.
Yeah, I mean she's great.
Yeah.
I love
I
her.
thought she did great in this movie.
you know, and like I like Kathy Bates. I like someone else. I mean Dan Aykroyd's got a little bit.
Sandra
Oh,
Oh is in it.
I love Gary Cole. He's really funny. It's from Lumberg from Office Space. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to come in on Monday.
Yeah. Toni Collette,
Saturday.
Sandra Oh. Like it has good people.
Toni Collette. Yeah.
Which I think we were talking about the other day. Toni Collette, if you like Toni Collette, you should watch United States of Terror.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Actually, I think I'm going to rewatch that for the third time. But can we talk about how Dan Aykroyd plays Melissa McCarthy's dad? and he kind of plays the same kind of dad
Oh my
as
God.
in Crossroads.
He does.
But I totally forgot Dan Aykroyd was in it, and when that scene did come on, I was like, this feels so much like his role in Crossroads.
It does.
Because he kind of plays the same dad.
I agree. Yeah.
Because all roads lead back
Yeah.
to Crossroads.
I'd rather watch Crossroads.
Oh, good.
Good.
We can do a second Crossroads episode.
No. I don't think there's anything else. I think we nailed that one.
So I feel like Susan Sarandon, for me, I always get confused. Like, she's one of those faces in Hollywood that has had many a lookalike over the years. And sometimes I get confused about what movie that she's in. Well, not many, but she does look just like Leslie Ann Warren.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because Clue.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Clue.
Yeah, she does.
It's
the
like,
movie Clue.
They have a resemblance.
Who has not seen that great movie?
That's a great
It's a good
movie. Where it's like they look enough alike that I've had literal arguments with people where it's been like, "It's Susan Sarandon." I was like, "No, it is not. Like, it's Leslie Ann Warren in Clue." And the only reason that I knew who it was is that that's my mom's favorite version of Cinderella, is she played the TV Cinderella in like the 60s.
She was I think like the second choice for Lois Lane in Superman after Margot Kidder.
Leslie Ann Warren?
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
I don't know who she is.
She's
in Clue.
Oh, I love
And
Clue.
looks like
I
Susan
forget who
Sarandon.
she plays, but
so good.
she does kind of look like Susan Sarandon. You know?
So good in Clue.
Yeah.
Well, I think now that Coyote Ugly has been dethroned and you have reached what is, in your opinion, the rock bottom of my movies, we need to do an episode where we rewatch Coyote Ugly and Crossroads. And maybe you'll just be like having enlightenment.
I'm going to say no.
Was you swinging the mic away your official quitting?
Yes.
Neither of you is allowed to quit the podcast, and we're not doing that.
Well, I think what we'll have to do if you quit.
Well, that episode would just be Aaron talking about.
It would just be me talking about
Crossroads
great movies that I like, like Tammy.
I don't know if we can call it great movies.
All right. So, I mean, I guess that brings us to the end of Tammy.
Yeah.
You did not like Tammy.
Did not.
I would almost say despised Tammy.
Spice it with every fiber of my being. It's everything I hate about comedies.
And it's one of the things, it's pretty much everything I love. So,
yeah, that's a perfect example of
real
what
opposites.
this podcast is all about.
So, and you love They Live.
I adore They Live.
And I enjoyed some of it.
Reservations, but you enjoyed it.
And I think if I were to ever watch it, which I don't know that I will, but I think I would like it better the second time around. There were parts of it that I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed Roddy Piper. So, so yeah.
So I guess we need to pick our movies for next month or the next podcast.
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll pause while Aaron picks a movie.
No, I've already got it. It's fine.
So what?
So what's the movie?
We're just going to do it now.
Yeah, do it now.
What fresh hell am I being subjected to?
I am going to have you watch. I had another movie kind of like Tammy picked.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not going to subject you to that one yet. Eventually.
Yet.
But I did decide on this time I'm going to do a movie from last year and have you watch Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen
that one.
And I heard I heard kind of mixed things, but I mean, at least it's something.
I really enjoyed it.
I think
I thought it was fun and funny, and
it's something I kind of wanted to see anyway. So
yeah,
at least there's that.
I thought you had said that before, so I thought I'd at least get something that maybe you would be somewhat interested in.
It's A24. It should be okay.
It's what?
A24.
They produce.
What's that mean?
They make
production company. They make,
okay.
They make generally okay horror movies. Just like for me, Blumhouse is generally okay.
I like
Blumhouse.
Also. I think they made Knock at the Cabin or Knock whatever.
Oh, really?
Did they not also
I enjoyed
do
that.
Pearl?
They did The Witch. They did. I think Ex Machina. They've done a lot of really good movies.
Pearl and X are also A24.
Yeah, I think Hereditary.
They do a lot of good horror movies, but they also do. Yeah.
Was A24. Okay. Yeah. They're really good at just like getting pretty good directors and just letting them do their giving them the freedom to make their movie.
So
it's nice.
I mean,
it's very rare.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if you'll like it or not, but at least it's something you wanted to see.
It's up my alley,
and I'm excited to see what you think about it and I'm actually excited to rewatch it because I saw it in theaters when it came out.
Yeah, Blumhouse and A24 are the two big horror movie producers lately.
Oh,
But A24 kind of like Blumhouse definitely goes more for like your mainstream
Yeah.
horror. A24 tends to be a little bit more indie, like art house kind of vibe.
They've done some great ones lately. Like Get Out, Invisible Man.
Blumhouse.
No, yeah, Blumhouse.
Yeah.
has done
Yeah,
some
I mean, they
really
could really
good
go,
ones.
but those are like,
Oh, I like
especially like
Invisible Man.
Man. It's like, it's a remake of like a classic film.
Yeah.
And like, it's like,
The Invisible Man was legitimately terrifying.
oh, it was fantastic.
horrific.
Like that.
So good.
That bit at the diner, like with the,
But then, yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I did not, I was like, oh.
I don't remember why I watched that.
I'm
great
also a
movie.
big fan of Hush, which is a Blumhouse. It's a deaf girl at her house, and there's like a home invasion. It's
I haven't seen
really good.
I haven't seen that.
It's really good.
Huh.
It's got a great fight scene between a smaller guy and a big guy, and like the smallest guy is like, I knew I needed to get the jump on you. Because you'll see like a smaller like bad guy
Yeah.
take on like a big guy, and it's like they never address like, no, it doesn't happen. Like he kind of talks through like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew I needed to do.
I'll check it out.
this.
So we'll see. I'm excited to see what you think about it.
Um,
And what am I going to have to endure?
So you picked one of your favorite comedies
Yes, I did.
for me this time.
I don't.
And
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it is probably one of my favorite comedies. Anyways, go ahead.
You don't have to change your opinion just because.
Oh no, I was
just
just
assuming.
I was just thinking like I didn't really think about that, but I do enjoy that one a lot. So it probably is
Okay.
one of my favorite.
so I'm going to pick one of my favorite comedies for you because I don't think I've picked a comedy the whole time we've
think
been
so.
doing this. So I'm going to pick Black Dynamite.
Black
Ooh.
Dynamite. Never
starring
even heard of
Michael
it.
Jai White. It's a. Have you ever seen Naked Gun? All right, this won't work. No. Well, it's
Well, is it like a sequel?
no, but it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's in that vein. Like it's a parody of blaxploitation movies from like the 70s.
Okay.
Like like stuff like Shaft or Coffee, Foxy Brown,
Okay.
Blackula.
So I've never seen any of those. So probably we'll see.
Okay, I
It's-
need you to look up before you watch Black Dynamite. Maybe just Google blaxploitation films and
Yeah, look
Get-
up some of like the tropes, stereotypes.
look up the tropes and
Yeah,
stereotypes so that you know what they're referencing.
so that you'll get
Okay.
it.
Um,
It's one of my favorite comedies. I quote it often. There's a lot of. I'm just thinking about it and laughing.
That's how I do with Tammy.
Yeah, it's very clever. It's very funny. It's a great they do an amazing job mimicking the style and look of 70s blaxploitation films, like kind of grindhouse films. And
Yeah.
Michael Jai White is so funny. Like, the whole cast is great. It's like Tommy Davidson's in it. Keegan Michael Keys. He's got a little there's a lot of little bit parts, but it's mostly Michael Jai White's. It's his.
I don't
His
think
film.
I know any of those people.
Do you know the Spawn movie?
I've
remember
heard of
that?
it.
He was Spawn in the
Oh.
Spawn movie. You'll kind of recognize.
When is
it
this
probably.
movie from? Like time period?
2008 or 2009.
Okay.
it's a new movie. It's just referencing old movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's very much in the vein of like Naked Gun. Like it's a lot of obvious, or not obvious, but a lot
No,
of.
I've
what-
seen clips of Naked Gun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great visual jokes and just a lot of small jokes. Like if you know what they're making fun of, it's really funny. And
Okay.
And beyond that, I just think it's a brilliant
So it's
film.
Black Diamond.
Black
Black
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Black
Oh, okay.
Diamond is Black Dynamite. They did
Black
a
Dynamite.
animated series too after the movie.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's my pick.
All right. So I guess that brings us to the end of the discussion for Tammy and They Live.
Uh-huh.
Definitely join us again in 2 weeks when we talk about Black Dynamite and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Okay.
But until then, I'm Aaron,
I'm Josh.
and this has been The Real Opposites.